So, MrBeast is in a bit of a pickle. He's in a huge legal situation with these guys, and there's $100 million on the line. And I know that you're wondering, why would someone sue MrBeast, Mr. Philanthropy, Mr. Give Away an Island? Well, stick around and I'm gonna share all the details with you. Let's get it. Of course we all know who MrBeast is. That's probably why you clicked this video in the first place. If you're under 20, you probably watch videos on one of his many different channels. Whether you're watching his gaming videos, you're watching him give away a Tesla or an island, or you're following along as he makes it possible for 1,000 blind people to see again. Or if you're 30 and up like me, then you might look at him with a little bit of awe and a little bit of jealousy that your YouTube nephew has a net worth that's like 1,000,000 times more than yours. Now here from the outside, I'm sure that we would agree that MrBeast is a great YouTuber, a great businessman, and kind of just an awesome human. But not everybody would agree with that. In fact, his partner in the MrBeast Burger brand would say that he's a manipulator that's only looking after his own monetary interests. Now look, I wouldn't consider myself a pocket watcher, but if you look at my videos, maybe you disagree. But when someone is young, they're doing amazing things, and they're on the path to making billions of dollars, well, I want to know why. I'm not going to go through the entire story of how a young Jimmy Donaldson from Greenfield, North Carolina became this huge superstar, and I'm not going to explain the fine details of his many business ventures and his many revenue streams. But I do want to give at least a little bit of background, since it's important to understand why MrBeast is being sued for 100 M's. So, it all begins with his YouTube channel, where he started uploading under the handle MrBeast6000 at the age of 13. In 2017, he received his very first YouTube sponsorship deal, which he negotiated to $10,000. And then he cut the camera on, he went outside, and he gave the entire wad of cash to a homeless person. And that was the start of his channel blowing up. That was the beginning of his philanthropy, and that was the foundation of what would later become more than a $50 million per year income. And over the years, he's given away many different things. An $800,000 island here, $1 million to the last person sitting on this toilet. He even gave $100,000 to people to leave their jobs. According to reports, his YouTube channel alone earns around $50 million per year. And while most of us would have milked that YouTube fame and money to the last drop, MrBeast did the smart thing. He leveraged it, and he created real businesses with incomes that could create wealth for generations and generations. For example, he launched Feastables, which put the MrBeast chocolate bars on the market. And as of August 2022, MrBeast bars had earned more than $10 million in revenue. He also started investing in startups like Backbone, which creates the Backbone One controller, making cell phones work like Nintendo Switch controllers. And he did some other really cool shit too, like launching his Finger on the App game that had 1.1 million people sitting down with their finger on a button on their mobile phone screen, hoping that they will be the last one to survive so they could win $25,000. But really, this video isn't about any of that, in particular anyway. This video is about his newest, maybe biggest, and definitely most challenging venture, which is MrBeast Burgers. In 2020, old Jimmy had the bright idea to launch 300 restaurant locations on the same day. And really, that's pretty unheard of. McDonald's, Taco Bell, Burger King, Five Guys, Wahlburgers, all of these companies started with one or maybe just a few restaurants, and then they proved the concept and then expanded into new areas or franchised out to create new locations. MrBeast Burger was different though. And this is a very, very, very important part of this story. Launching 300 restaurant locations would easily be a $30 to $50 million venture or more. However, MrBeast Burger launched as a virtual restaurant, meaning that you can't just order at the counter and eat in or pick up your order through a drive-through window. It was delivery only, and you would have to use the MrBeast Burger app or a third-party app like Uber Eats, Grubhub, or DoorDash to place an order. The benefit of a virtual restaurant is that you can launch without a physical location, and you can utilize existing kitchens or ghost kitchens, which are essentially shared kitchens. And this approach is more logistically efficient and more cost-effective, since you don't have to buy or rent property, renovate and furnish it, get all the necessary inspections, and pay for a bunch of utilities like you would have to if you had your own facility. And while there are many benefits of having a virtual restaurant, they aren't necessarily easy to set up, especially if you're launching 300 of them on the same day. MrBeast would need help getting everything set up, organizing the ghost kitchens, and ensuring product quality across each of his restaurants. And for that, he hired a company called Virtual Dining Concepts, or VDC, which is a virtual kitchen company that helped establish other virtual restaurants like Pardon My Cheesesteak, NASCAR Refuel, and Buddy V's Cake Slice. VDC is co-founded by Robert Earl, who is the founder and CEO of Planet Hollywood. The company has partnered with several different celebrities to launch new brands, including Mariah Carey and Mario Lopez, for instance. So, MrBeast and VDC entered into a partnership, and everything pretty much went downhill from there. Now, MrBeast and Virtual Dining Concepts are in this nasty divorce, and they're fighting over custody of that $100 million baby. Now, even though the launch of MrBeast Burger was a success from the outside, the problems really started mounting on day one. The first major problem was that MrBeast and Virtual Dining Concepts completely underestimated his popularity. They probably didn't really understand how many people would show up to support their favorite YouTuber. I mean, you know, this was before the Kai Cenat riots in New York. So maybe no one really understood just how crazy things can get when a YouTuber makes an announcement. And on top of that, let's be real, it's day one and it's MrBeast. So who knows, maybe if you place an order on day one, you end up winning a Tesla or something. The point here is, as soon as it launched, hundreds of thousands of people flooded the app, which overloaded the servers, and then the app crashed. MrBeast had to apologize to his fans and quickly upgrade the server to get things going back again. But imagine the impression that customers get when they open the app on the first day and it's already down. That's not really a good look. But either way, technical issues, they happen. And it really didn't put him back too far. MrBeast fixed the issue, and him and his partners put it behind them. The second issue was food quality. So you know how Grubhub and DoorDash work. When there aren't any drivers available, the wait time gets longer and longer and longer. Well, there were thousands of orders coming in at each location on day one, and that held up delivery. Some customers waited hours and hours to get their delivery. And when the food finally showed up, some of them said that it was smashed up and cold. Ugh. Even the thought of cold fries disgusts me. But the delivery apps aren't the only ones that can be blamed for a lack of quality control. I mean, there are 300 locations, and it's not like a single restaurant location where MrBeast could just stand at the counter like Gordon Ramsay on Hell's Kitchen, examining every plate and cussing out the chefs until they get the food right. Some customers said that their orders were mixed up, which could be the fault of the app itself, but others said that their burger patties were so burned that the meal was inedible. And unfortunately, quality control wasn't an issue that they could fix in one day. In fact, if you look at the reviews of YouTubers trying MrBeast burgers for the first time, it becomes a bit obvious that people were never really satisfied with the food. But still, day one could be considered a success. MrBeast, being the great content creator that he is, he partnered with a restaurant in Wilson, North Carolina, and they made a physical restaurant location just for that one launch day. The line was over 20 miles long, and it was so long that police had to shut down the restaurant for disrupting traffic. And of course, in true MrBeast style, he gave away hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stuff to customers who showed up to that physical location. He was giving out stacks of cash, cars, tablets, and more right through the drive-through window. And I can't lie, that's kind of gangster. Despite having a few bumps in the road, and despite him having never owned a restaurant, MrBeast Burger seemed pretty successful with VDC's guidance and help. Now the brand has more than 1,700 virtual locations, and they even launched a physical restaurant in the American Dream Mall, which is in New Jersey. In only 2 years since launching, the business reached over $100 million in revenue. And so it seemed like the partnership between MrBeast and VDC was kind of a match made in heaven. With all this success, it almost seems unfathomable that MrBeast would hop on Twitter one day and write a post saying that he wishes he can close the entire burger business. In one tweet, he said, "I started MrBeast Burger to help restaurants make more money during the pandemic, and it worked. But sadly, when working with 2,000 restaurants I don't own, it's impossible to guarantee the order quality. I'm moving on from MrBeast Burger so I can focus on Feastables and making snacks." And then, when he was asked if he would be retiring the MrBeast locations, he said, "I would if I could, but the company I partner with won't let me stop even though it's terrible for my brand. Young Beast signed a bad deal." It became super obvious that there was tension brewing between MrBeast, MrBeast Burgers, and virtual dining concepts. And all of that leads to the legal war that's happening today. It started when MrBeast initiated a lawsuit to terminate the deal for his restaurant chain. And part of this suit alleged that the burgers were damaging his reputation because customers thought that the burgers were, quote, "disgusting, revolting, and terrible," unquote. Since quality control was VDC's responsibility, MrBeast felt that his partner's inability to do its job was ultimately impacting his entire brand, not just the restaurant brand. According to the suit, he said that reviewers were deeply disappointed by the fact that MrBeast would put his name on this product, and that VDC had caused material, irreparable harm to the MrBeast brand and MrBeast reputation. And furthermore, he said that while the business had made millions and millions of dollars, he had not received even a dime. His goal was to invalidate the initial contract and then either move on from the restaurant idea or take a different direction. However, VDC obviously disagreed with this assessment. According to VDC, Jimmy already breached the contract by attempting to negotiate a new deal that would serve his own monetary interest and that would give him the lion's share of equity. So this way he would have the voting rights to terminate his existing contractual obligations without any cause. They called his lawsuit meritless and ill-advised. In fact, VDC said that because of the burger brand itself, MrBeast star power grew exponentially, and that the negative reviewers only represented a small set of MrBeast Burger's customers. And then VDC responded by pursuing its own lawsuit worth $100 million. The lawsuit states the following: like any party to a contract, Donaldson, or MrBeast, must be held to his word and held accountable for his contractual breaches and other misconduct. Donaldson's baseless and unlawful disparagement had the intended effect. MrBeast Burger's reputation was materially damaged, if not destroyed. Customers abandoned the brand. Plaintiffs' hard-won relationships with vendors, partners, and suppliers were shattered, causing damages to plaintiffs that, according to the evidence and Donaldson's own statements regarding the value of MrBeast Burger, are in the 9-figure range. In other words, VDC attests that by posting those tweets and filing that lawsuit, MrBeast not only maliciously destroyed the brand, since of course his fans are no longer going to support it, but it also caused problems that would make it difficult for VDC to serve future clients, since it put a roadblock in between them and their existing partners and suppliers. So that would not only be a breach of contract, but that will also be tortious interference, which is when someone improperly induces a breach of contract between a contracted party and a third party. Now look, I'm a startup consultant. I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a judge. So I don't know what's gonna happen here. But I do know that if they don't settle and then VDC wins the full amount, then this lawsuit is gonna damage both MrBeast and VDC's brands. And it'll probably be a wrench in MrBeast's vision for at least the next couple of years. In business, partnerships are essential, but make sure that you dot all of your I's and that you cross all of your T's, because when it goes bad and it heads to litigation, well, that's nasty work. When partnerships go bad, you have to handle things within the confines of the law, and everybody involved usually suffers, along with the brand itself. And thinking about it, that's probably why Pablo Escobar stayed out of the court and handled his failed partnerships in a different way. You know, in the "my partners are no longer alive" type of way. And I definitely don't recommend that approach for MrBeast, but there probably are a few things that MrBeast could learn from Pablo about running a business. And you can learn those things too by clicking on this video right here. I'll continue to keep you updated on this situation, but if you want to learn more about launching startups so that you can create an empire like MrBeast, or like Pablo Escobar, then make sure that you subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care and keep doing amazing shit.